guys, so first off we're going to be cutting our aromatics. So first we got the shallot. We got half a shallot cut. Now we're just going to peel off the skin, and then we're going to roughly mince it. I don't like too fine because I still want some rough chunks when I eat the beef stew. So here we go, roughly chopped. And then next we're going to do our garlic. Here we got 4 cloves of garlic. We're just going to peel the skin off, and then we're just going to chop off any imperfections if you have any. And then with the same thing with the shallot, we're going to roughly chop them. You could do finely chopping if you want because you don't like garlic, but I do like garlic, so I'm going to just roughly chop them. Alright, so next we got our ginger. So we're just going to peel off the outer layer wherever it's dried, and wherever the brown skin is, we're just going to chop it and then mince it, and then we're going to put it aside. Next we're going to start by slicing a turnip, or known as a radish. We're just going to be using half for this recipe, and you can use more if you want, but I don't because I feel like it overtakes too much of the flavor. We're just going to peel off the skin. I'm using a knife because I know how to do it with that, but if you don't, use a peeler. Don't hurt yourself. Alright, now we're going to be cutting our turnips into quarters. Just follow how I'm doing. I don't do the 3 discs. I did that by mistake. We're just going to cut it into quarters and then slice it with 2-inch thickness, or you could do 3 or 1. It's up to you. Alright, now we're going to start off our sauce. So first we're going to do a 1/4 cup of Chinese cooking wine, and then we're going to do a tablespoon of this Chinese bean paste, which I'll link below, but you'll see me scoop in the other one later. Then we're going to do 2 teaspoons of dark soy sauce, and then in a second we're going to be doing 2 teaspoons of light soy sauce. Then we are going to do a tablespoon of oyster sauce. So I'm using teaspoons. I'm going to be doing 3 scoops because that equals a tablespoon. And then if your bottle's almost done, just add in a 1/4 cup of water and rinse out the bottle. But if it's not done, just add in another teaspoon of oyster sauce and add in a 1/4 cup of water. Just like that, nice and simple. Now we got some hoisin sauce. We're going to be doing about a teaspoon of that just for that hint of sweetness. And there's the extra bean paste. And we're going to do an extra teaspoon of soy sauce, light. Tap it on. Just mix it a few and make sure everything's incorporated. And then now we're going to start off with our beef. Alright, so first off we're going to boil out the scum out of our beef. So we're using round flank, or known as beef stew, and depending on which market you're in. So just fill up a pot of water with enough water to just cover up all the meat in the pot, and we're just going to basically boil out the scum out on a high heat setting and cut off any disgusting parts or whatever you see. So put the heat on high, and then we're just going to cover the lid and leave it running for around 20 minutes, and you'll see how disgusting it is. Look how disgusting it is. All that disgustingness floated to the top, and we're just basically going to rinse out the water in the pot until it's clear, and then we're going to hand wash the meat and scrub it. And then it's crucial to put it in a strainer and then spray it with some more water, and then later on you just want to make sure you wash your pot off with soap and water. You don't want that disgusting flavor distributing later on. Alright, once you're done washing your pot, just put it back on the stove and turn on a high heat and add a tablespoon of canola oil. 1 minute later, we're going to start cooking our aromatics. So ginger comes up first, then shallots, and we're going to let that cook on a medium setting for around 1 minute, and then we're going to add in our garlic. After a minute, we're going to start searing off our beef at a high temperature setting. just like that. And then we're gonna add in another tablespoon of oil. Just let that heat up for a minute, and then we're gonna sear off our meat at the highest setting possible. And then we're gonna add some lump candy or brown sugar. This will help loosen the meat. And we're gonna add in our sauce at a high temperature, and then just give it a nice stir. Make sure both sides are seared before you add in your sauce. Then we're gonna add in a cup and a half. Then we're gonna add in some water until it fills it up. Then we got some mushrooms, and then we're gonna let this braise for 3 hours at a medium setting. But you don't have to use mushroom, that's optional. And this is at 2 hours. Look at the sauce, it's amazing. Taste test it, and if it's not salty enough, add in more oyster sauce. And give it a stir once in a while. Make sure everything's loosened up. And then we're also gonna add in our bean curd sticks if you have some, just the ends. And then give it a cover, and then let it run for the rest of the remaining time. We're at 1 hour and 22 minutes. The beef is cuttable, and here's the taste test reaction. All right, here we go. Aha. That's really good. The flavor, just locked right in. Alright, if you're using the turnips or the bean curd sticks, add them in 30 minutes before the timer ends. Alright, so I couldn't finish the recipe, so I had my mom finish it. If you're doing bean curd sticks or turnips, add them in 30 minutes before the timer ends. So I'm going to be reviewing it with the miso ramen by Sun Ramen. This is very delicious, and we're just going to get one package out, and I'll be teaching you how to enhance this through the beef stew and vegetable preparation. So just grab one package out, and let's start. Alright, so first off, we got some hoisin, and you just want to make sure you open up the leaves and spray down with some water and make sure there's no dirt on it. You can use more if you want, but this is what I prefer. And we're just gonna make sure we got a healthy diet, so of course include some vegetable. Just give it a nice wash, just scrub it everywhere, make sure there's no dirt. That's disgusting. Alright, next we got a pot of hot water, and we're just gonna add in our hoisin and just let it boil for around 2 to 3 minutes depending on how you like it. Just poke it in with a fork to figure out when it's done. Don't do that because it's hot. And just let this boil, and then we're gonna add in our soup base into a large bowl. Make sure you squeeze every square inch in that packet because we want all that flavor. Alright, after boiling the hoisin for around 3 minutes, we're just gonna remove it, and we're gonna start shocking the vegetables. So get half a cup of ice, and then we're gonna add in a 1/4 cup of water, and then you're just gonna add in the vegetable into it so the heat will stop cooking the vegetable. This will help retain the color of the vegetable and give it a nice crunchy texture. Alright, now we're just gonna boil the ramen for around 3 minutes, and you just wanna give it some stirring so it prevents it from sticking to each other. And next we're gonna make our soup broth. So you can add from 2 to 3 cups of water depending on how rich you want the broth. I did around 2.5 cups, and this is how rich the broth is. You could tell by the color. And we're just gonna add in the ramen. Alright, here we go with the beef. I cut them into 2-inch cubes, just like that, and they're like the perfect bite size. And I'm just gonna plate this, chop up some scallions, and put the hoisin on top, and I'll see you at the taste test. Alright guys, here we go. Look at this chunk of beef. Look how delicious this is. The flavor has literally just soaking right through it, and when the sauce of that beef mixes with the broth, oh my gosh, this is so delicious. Here we go. Just a little bit of broth, some of the beef. Literally perfect. The sun ramen, so good. Mixed with the beef that we just made, amazing. We shocked this before. Texture is impeccable. This is called an daikon, and this is literally just beef. One of the most toughest part of the meat that you can have just dissolves in your mouth. Flavor has soaked in real nice. You can get a little bit of soup broth. Add a little bit of this. Alright. What? It's so good. Usually this is a tenderloin. This is a tendon, I think. Yeah. Real tough. Before we make it real tough. Now it's like gelatinous and melts perfectly in your mouth. Alright. Last piece. Still got that nice crispy texture. Now with that, you don't want it like fully melting in your mouth. So that's, you gotta have a little of that crunch texture. A little bit of that broth. There you go. A restaurant quality dish for under literally $6. Under $6. Around $5-6. Well, that's it. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe for the next video. Bye. Alright, so it's the next day and I got some wonton meat that looks just like this, and it's amazing to put this beef on top of. This has so much flavor and it's delicious. So here we go again with the routine. So we're gonna wash some hoisin, and then we're just gonna cook the wonton noodles like it is on the package, and then we're gonna assemble it and I'm gonna show you the final product, and it is unbelievably amazing. Alright, here we go with the broth. Look how nice and rich it looks, and we're just gonna pour in the noodles pretty much just like that and make sure it doesn't spill, and then we're gonna top it off with some fresh scallion, our beef, and hoisin, and there we go, a next day meal. Alright, now we're just gonna top off the dish with some fresh scallions, and look how amazing this looks. This looks just like restaurant quality. You can't get better during quarantine with this, okay? So I'm just gonna give it a nice taste test really quick. I'm not gonna go with a full taste test, and show you my reaction. Oh, and you cannot forget about the sesame oil. This is amazing stuff that you must put on top, because this is another element of flavor. And that is it for this video. Please be sure to subscribe and drop a like.